If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos. The CIA has declassified its secret files on unidentified flying objects. The year started promising for fans of aliens and UFOs, as it has just been revealed to the public all the CIA archive library on unidentified flying objects that had been classified for decades. There are almost 3,000 pages distributed in hundreds of reports that the Black Vault, an internet blog dedicated to controversial content about UFOs and other conspiracy theories, has been in charge of classifying, ordering, and enabling for download. The files are barely being organized, so searching through them means navigating a vast sea of data that could be considered irrelevant. Many documents are read with great difficulty, and the vast majority still have classified words and paragraphs, black dots that suppress some of the information but also indicate how potentially relevant is hidden behind them. Exploring the vast library of secret documents can be found in some events dating back to the 1950s and 1960s, such as several intelligence cables that speak of an encrypted message that could come from outer space. Also, several sightings of phenomena at the time inexplicable in the sky, such as incandescent lights with strange trajectories, or objects that fly through regions like Argentina or Azerbaijan. All this was compiled by the CIA for decades. This is a selection of some of the most relevant information. The message from space, a recurring theme in several of the CIA documents, references to an audiotape that would contain a message from space. Most of them refer to Dr. Leon Davidson, one of the most prominent scientists who were part of the team responsible for designing the atomic bomb. These documents state that Davidson is pressuring the CIA to give him a verbatim translation of the message from space and the identification of the transmitter it came from. The scientist is told that the signal is actually a Morse code and comes from a licensed radio station in the United States. However, the scientist insists that the characteristics of the sounds on the tape are not Morse type. The documents speak of a message from space that a prominent scientist wanted to decipher. iStock. It is even stated that Davidson would have threatened the CIA with revealing in a magazine an alleged extraterrestrial activity that the intelligence agency would be covering up. In the document CO5515650, it reads, "We would like to fire this man once and for all. If he can't get this information, Davidson is going to pressure us to get permission to use the Chicago office poster and other U.S. government posters that he has received on this matter in an article for some space magazine." Later they warn that the scientist could publish criticism of the Air Force for hiding information about flying saucers. They conclude by stating that Davidson is not stupid and ATIC is treating him like one, referring to the fact that they were not going to convince him that the message was a Morse code. Frustrated at not getting the information he asked for, Davidson did indeed publish his articles, one of them titled The Air Force and the Flying Saucers Part 3, The CIA Gets Involved with the Flying Saucers. This note was referenced in another declassified document referring to a visit by Davidson to the CIA headquarters in Chicago and a possible revelation of the location of these by the scientist, one of the signs found near Area 51. Finally, in another document they say that the information is given to Davidson because they want to dispatch this man once and for all, reiterating that the scientist continues to deny that the encrypted message in Morse code, what Davidson learned and what was on the tape, is information that does not appear in the document. Explosions in the Russian sky on April 12, 1991. A mysterious explosion occurred in Sassovo, Russia, a small town located about 200 miles southeast of Moscow. The event was reviewed by the CIA as follows: the blast wave was felt through the streets, tearing off roofs in some areas and knocking down windows, including frames, in most of the apartment blocks, buildings, and structures. According to testimonies, everything moved as if it were an earthquake. The document affirms that the alarm was total and that the following morning many of the witnesses had not been able to recuse themselves from the shock of the experience. Several of them were injured by the glass and had to be treated by paramedics. A UFO over California. Photo, YouTube at Crazy's Cody Creatures. He also quotes a report from the then chairman of the party committee in Rayon, surnamed Roshkov, who writes, "It is not yet clear what caused the explosion. Some people speak of ammunition that was buried since the last war, while others claim that a powerful aerial bomb fell. A third group blames what happened to a meteorite and a fourth group blames a UFO. Some people supposedly saw a sphere of fire move. UFOs in Azerbaijan and Argentina. Among the intelligence documents there is one, C000152554, that records a UFO sighting in Bahia Blanca, south of the province of Buenos Aires, dating from May 25, 1962. It contains information published by the local press that talks about a strange luminous body that remained suspended for several minutes over the city and then they saw it quickly disappear. In the same way, there is another record that speaks of a UFO flying over the road between Baku, capital of Azerbaijan, with the city of Tbilisi. In this case, direct testimonies are cited from people who were traveling by car and said they had seen an object float near the horizon. They described that it had two sources of light coming out of it and that at one point he approached his vehicle, passing very near the ceiling. The first photographic record of a UFO in Argentina, Luis Netti, in 1957. There is another report of a UFO in Iran, and 2 years later another intelligence report on a similar event in Ukraine. Another curious fact reported in these documents is in report CO5515663 that describes a star that settled over the city and shone with bright light for about 10 to 12 minutes. Witnesses described the light as fine rays that caused an effect similar to rain. In the document, this was named as an unusual natural phenomenon. Keep reading. The CIA declassified all the information it has on UFOs. It's available for downloads in Argentina. The unusual story behind the official request to the police to provide evidence about the phenomenon, the full story of the most puzzling UFO incidents ever documented. Pentagon declassified videos of 3 UFO sightings.